On the motion that this House believes that nuclear power is better than wind power, we are glad to give the floor to Maria to open the case for the proposition side.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today we are discussing a burning issue, really, because what we're facing nowadays is the real shortage of fossil fuels. And that is why all these power stations that work on fossil fuels are a kind of becoming obsolete. We have to think about new ways of how to transform this into energy and how not to depend on these fossil fuels and to probably increase our energy security. Dear ladies and gentlemen, what we do have on the table today in the discussion is two ways of producing power. It is wind power versus nuclear power. And what we're going to prove you today is that nuclear power is better than wind power. That does not mean that we're going to exclude all wind power stations that may be used in smaller towns, etc., etc. But we will find out that these are not effective in terms of big cities, in terms of big plants, and in terms of their not being that economistic, so to put it. Dear ladies and gentlemen, if we are to compare two things, we have to follow a certain principle of logic. We have to compare them according to different parameters. And we're going to start with all the parameters that we probably estimate a power station according to. First of all is the capacity of a power station. If we look at the capacity of a nuclear power plant and a windmill, we would certainly find out that nuclear power plant, even a small one, even containing of one sector, one certain station, is twice or even thrice bigger, but a normal nuclear power station is about 10 times as powerful as a wind power station, dear ladies and gentlemen. Though both of them produce sustainable sources of energy, meaning that they do not probably very much, to a high extent, depend on oil and gas. It is only nuclear power stations, dear ladies and gentlemen, that do not completely depend on oil and gas. Windmills don't depend on oil and gas. But if we take a wind power station, we will find out, dear ladies and gentlemen, that it does not consist only of a windmill. We have to produce a generator, an inverter to convert the variable nuclear power into invariable one. And for this all is additional equipment, and this additional equipment works either on diesel or on oil. So that makes it not that very much sustainable. And that is about the issue of energy security, dear ladies and gentlemen. Again, if we, yes?
But ma'am, yes, we need additional equipment there, but we need nuclear, some Pluton and uran for our stations.
But you know, it is like an investment. You make this investment once, and a nuclear plant will work for you long and long. You don't need any additional things. It's investing once and getting lots of power for a long, considerable period of time. No, thank you. When we take a wind power, we have to invest several times. First of all, we build a windmill. That's not that expensive, dear ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to fool you. But we have to get a generator, we have to get several accumulators, etc., etc. Let alone the fact that, thank you, a wind power station does not work on a regular basis. There is a point that is called intermittency of work, dear ladies and gentlemen. That means that only in the regions where there are high winds, and these regions are really very rare, or they are high hills or something of that kind, can it work for all the periods. In other cases, it works with certain interceptions, meaning that you have to produce some certain special devices in order for it to work constantly, on a constant basis, steadily. Of course, that can be alright for smaller towns and villages where some, disruptions in electric supply and energy supply can be sustained by the people. But in big cities, it cannot be ensured, because when a city has plenty of plants, etc., etc., just imagine that in one moment this energy plant won't work or go out, and probably what will happen? We will all be without electricity, without power, etc. It's impossible in our modern-day cosmopolitan world, ladies and gentlemen. So we've proved you that if we detect the wind power station and find out that except for the windmill, there are several other devices, inverter, accumulator, etc., etc., semi-nuclear plant, dear ladies and gentlemen. Another very important thing, dear ladies and gentlemen, is about technological advance. Okay, we are living this day, the present day, but we have to look into the future, and we may find out that nuclear technologies give our science a chance to advance, a chance for a complete overhaul, because we make all these innovations, how to probably salvage plutonium, uranium, and this advances our science. You're out of time. As for the windmills and the wind power stations, the technology harks back to the 16th century, and it's pretty much the same. Well, there are some innovations, okay, we can argue, but the principal strategy is just the same. It won't advance our science ever. And as for the ecological, the last point, the ecological thing, the nuclear power stations probably work without any fallout, without releasing the carbon dioxide, sulfide dioxide, etc., etc. They are probably really green, dear ladies and gentlemen, no matter how surprising it may seem. Whilst the nuclear power station wind power stations produce this sound effects and all this stuff that can be not only unpleasant for the people who live nearby, but really harmful for their health. So for the reasons of economics, for the reasons of ecology, for the reasons of advancement of technology, we beg you to propose that nuclear power stations are better than windmills.
Thank you very much, Mom.